Hello everyone, my name is Dylan Hamilton. I am back here again with another board game idea. Might be a little hard to see, but with this one we have Wildcard Harvey. Now, this game is a 4-player free-for-all game where each player must go up against one another, trying to whittle down everyone's lives until they are the last ones standing. However, that is not the only case, as they must go up against a 5th compatriot known as the Wildcard Harvey himself. He is more of a as his name suggests, he is a wild card where where his actions are unpredictable, and you don't know whether he's going to help you or he's going to be on your bad side. Now, over here we have each of the individual game pieces where we have the actual player pieces themselves. We have hearts, which are like healing items. We have 2 different stacks of cards here, which is Harvey's movement cards and Harvey's his action cards. I wasn't able to put any backsides on these, as this is most of a prototype, as well as my printer has ran out of ink, so I wasn't able to do much. I just printed out what I could. Over here we have the actual player action cards, because what's a free-for-all if you can't have some fun with your friends and be able to whittle down their lives just a little bit, And then we have the token for Harvey himself as a representation. Now, on the board, as you can see, it's more of a hexagonal grid. There we go. Where 4 different sides. We have yellow, green, purple, and red. And then we also see a bunch of these other different shapes around here, which will come into play later. Now, as you can see, there's going to be squares on each corner as well. That is because each player will have their own stack of these cards. I only have 1 stack right now, so it's just going to be distributed just a little bit. So we'll just distribute these just to get the game set up. I have a good example. There we go. Give that one a couple. Now, in order to actually start the game, the player whose birthday comes first in the year can go first. And any player can basically choose what colors they want. Each player has a total of 3 different lives. That is why we see 3 different tokens on each color. They each represent a life. Now, the red life goes over to all the red side over here. Purple. Give me some time to set this up. And then all the yellow lives. And then there's Gypsy over there. get a free Gypsy shot right there. All right. Now, to start the game, each player must place their little token on any spot in their spawn. They can place it on any spot they choose. So, like, this player can basically choose to put it right here, while purple might want to choose to put his more in, like, a center of his own board. Yellow might think that purple might have, might be onto something. So he'll just put his right there and try to hope to have a strategic advantage. While green wants to be his own little thing and then put it in the farthest corner that he can. So each player has their own tokens in their own spawn. Now, in this case, we'll say that I'm player red and my birthday is January 1st, which is an actual fact. And since I go first, what I start to do is I start to do my movement action, which I will take this die, I'll roll it, and I get to move 3 in any different space in any direction that I want. So, and it doesn't have to be like, I have to move straight in a single row. No, I can basically distribute my movements however I please, as long as I move to a spot that is connecting to the one that my piece is currently at. So let's say I want to move it 1, 2, and then 3 right there. And we'll just go there for random right there. Now, at the end of each player, or there is one thing I forgot to mention. Each player starts out with 3 cards as well, so they get the draw from their pile. You get to draw 3 cards. Each one of these cards will typically have an action for them that they can play at any point. This one is basically deal 1 damage to anyone in a 2-space radius, deal 1 damage to anyone in 3 space, and deal 1 damage to 3 space in any direction. Now, once I have moved my token, I can then choose to play one of these cards. But this is a choice. In this circumstance, there's no one around me, so I can't really do much against it. So, I won't be touching any of these. But let's just say that there's someone right here. And green decided to move his right there in the midst of the action. And I just moved my player over here. Once I did my action move, where I moved mines around here, I can then decide to play this card right here, which deal 1 damage to the next 3 spaces in any direction you choose. I deal that, I put it in a discard pile off to the side, and then I can choose to deal damage in these 3 spaces, which will take out green's space, or green's token, and put it in a player graveyard. Now, after that has been done, once the player has had their turn, they then basically must move for Harvey himself. Because, well, Harvey isn't actually controlled by a single player. He's controlled by every player. And they don't actually have control over him. They're told what to do, really. So, on the first turn, Harvey spawns right here in the middle. And the player that first gets to play him can choose any one of these spaces along the line. So I can choose any space. Now, let's say I don't trust Harvey. He basically took my milkshake in the 3rd grade, and I never forgave him for that. So I want him as far away from me as possible. So I can choose to have him right there. And for the first round, that's done. I chose where he goes. Now, every other action that precedes each player's turn, what they do, like, let's say my turn is over. We're going counterclockwise, so we go back to green. He has his 3 cards. I don't know what his cards are. But at the same time, I also basically took out one of his soldiers, one of his tokens. However you want to see these little guys. You can see them as little henchmen, little soldiers. You can just see them as guys that are just trying to, just trying to do their thing and then get caught up in a war. So, or get caught up in a battle. So, he has 1 token in his graveyard. Now, he has 2 extra lives right here. So, he can choose another space to spawn it in and place his token right there. Now, he gets to do his turn, which he starts off with rolling, and he got another 3. So let's just say he wants to try to go towards Harvey, so he chooses to go right there. Now, that's the end of his turn, because he doesn't have anything he could do with his card, so he just ends it right there. That's done. Further note, he can't really do anything. For one, all the players are back home peacefully in their spawn. Well, Harvey, you can't really damage Harvey. He's just there. So, once green's turn is up, green's player will then take a card from Harvey's movement pile and will say, roll a die, move Harvey with the resulting number towards square. If he hits a wall, continue back in the opposite direction. Now, this is where each one of these shapes come into play. Each one of these shapes represents basically the directions that Harvey can move in. Now, this is talking about the square. And since the square is off in this direction, it is basically talking about any direction that is talking about this horizontal line. And this goes for, honestly, like this movement was perfect because it's right there, right where square is. So perfect representation. However, this counts, so like, let's say Harvey was over here, and we get this card. what we do is we roll the die. We got 4. So now we move Harvey. We know that square's over there, and it's representing this corner right here, right? This little side right here. So we know that he has to move over here 4 spaces, like right along those lines. So that demonstration out of the way, we'll put him back, and we'll just use the same number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right after that, we'll have the discard pile, which once all these cards have diminished, like we're down to the last card, we can just shuffle in these rests and then stack them back underneath the top card, just for when the pile is running low. But after Harvey's movement turn, we then play Harvey's action turn, which is deal 1 damage towards 4 spaces in the triangle direction. Now, since triangle's off and represents this side right here of the hexagon, we know that anything in these 4 spaces, basically, well, in this case, to Harvey's right, anyone in these 4 spaces will take damage. So if green was right there, instead, if he was just right there, green player would just have the most unfortunate luck because he would have lost another token. Now, a lot of Harvey's action cards are different. You have some cards that'll do damage. You have some ones that are different. They'll either do damage in one space, or you have some that'll do radius damage. However, you also have ones that will basically say, what direction to place a heart card. Only Harvey can place heart cards, or these heart tokens. Like, let's say there was one, instead of doing damage, it's place a heart token right here. So Harvey can now basically decide to have a, turnaround mid-fight or mid-match and want to actually try to help people. So now he places down like equivalent of a health potion. So if green, once on green's turn, he manages to move back, or essentially have 5, or he rolls a 5, and then moves all the way over here. He can then take that heart token, takes that, puts it off to the side right here, and he can take his token that he had lost previously and put it back. So he basically gains an extra life. And then the battle continues. So, each player, just to recap, each player has 3 cards. They do their movement first with the die, and then they basically have a short chance where they play as Harvey and do his movements and action turns as well. And everyone keeps going until all the other players have lost all 3 of their lives. So all of their lives would be moved into their graveyard pile. And the last person standing, let's just say, by some random miracle, I have my last card right there. And I am the only one standing because everyone else had just decided to keel over overnight for some reason. I know I keep using like a lot of war terms, but this is not really a war-based game. It's just a free-for-all, really. But, anyways, my last token's right there. Everyone else is off the board because they're all dead. Harvey can't really do anything about it. He's just there. So, therefore, I am the winner of this match. Now, and that has been my game idea for Wildcard Harvey. Until next time, thank you guys for watching. Oh, I did forget to mention one thing. My bad. I did forget about the cards. Once you put a discard thing, right, or once you put a card down and you only have 2 cards left, you then are able to draw a card and put it in your hand. That my bad, I completely, well, there it goes. That completely slipped my mind. But you must always have 3 cards in your hand. So after you dish out some damage, you then just draw an extra card right there. Now, that was the last thing. My apologies for that one again. Until next time, thank you for watching.